sitting here in front of my project wall, big project wall. My lovely co-host Benjamin. He won't be saying much, he's just there to look beautiful. Bought myself a nice cup of coffee here because yeah, I got a coffee reputation to uphold, of course. So let's talk about it. We're going to talk about searching properties in Portugal today. Before I move over to my computer and show you where you can find properties, it's good to have a little bit of an idea of where in Portugal you want to be. Also, of course, the budget range where you will be looking for what budget you'll be looking at properties. Not to talk about the other stuff like what kind of property you would want. But first you would want to know where in Portugal you want to be, because there is a great difference between stuff in the north, that's not even on this map, the middle of Portugal, and the south, what is also not so much on this map, because my focus is the center of Portugal. But if you, the higher up in Portugal you go, of course, as on the rest of the northern hemisphere, the colder it gets. So yeah, you need to account for that. In the north there's a good chance of freezing in the winter. In the middle it's less cold in the winter, and in the south it's really doable in the winter. It doesn't really get cold. Well, for me as a Dutch guy, right? Another thing, what makes up where you are in Portugal is the price of the property. If you look from the center of Portugal, this may be the cheapest region of Portugal. Up in the north it's sort of the same, maybe a little bit more expensive. And yeah, from the south, and of course the more you go to the coast, the properties will be more expensive. And this can be sometimes, like if you look at Castelo Branco and like the southern regions, this can be sometimes up to 5 times the price. If you're looking for a nice do-it-yourself project, for instance, down in the south, you got to account for a lot more money than when you want to do the same thing in the center. Of course, the middle region of Portugal and also the south is a very dry region. Also, one thing to consider here is forest fires. You don't have that so much up in the far north, because it's also a lot more rainy in the north. In the north of Portugal you can have even more rain than in Holland. I don't know about the UK because they get a lot of rain also. But I know the north of Portugal in millimeters it's more than we get average in Holland. So yeah, these are things you want to consider about your location, where you're at. And of course a lot of people like the beach areas. And yeah, if you want to have all year round sunshine on the beach, then you really have to go south and spend more money. So let's dive into the computer and I'll show you some of the websites. You don't need to see my pretty face all the time. So I dove behind the computer here. I also created a Facebook page for your convenience. You can follow the project along more closely than just the YouTube videos. It gives me a place to post pictures and get more regular updates. So if you start looking for projects in Portugal, it's good to know some websites where you can search for properties and potentially find your property. If we go look at the websites, first there is OLX. OLX is like the eBay for Portugal, and they have a lot of different stuff. Like you can see here, maybe you don't speak Portuguese yet, but you can see on the icons what is involved. Imóveis. This is properties. If you start looking on Portuguese websites, you might want to get the translate tool from Google Chrome, and you can easily translate stuff in English. Normally I translate to Dutch, but for this example I translate to English. So now you can see here this is translated to properties. Also the subcategories you see are now translated. You do have to remember though that sometimes the websites don't work correct if you translate them with Google. In this case it's no problem. But sometimes with search options you do need to switch back to Portuguese. Now you know where to click. And you see here also it translates automatically to English. Now the search options you get here, they vary very much per website. If you are looking for land and farms, farms in English also includes lands which don't have habitation, a habitation building. If you translate it to Dutch, what is boerderij, then to me it implicates it always has something where you can live. For English this might be not so, and for Portuguese this is also a quinta is not always something what has a building, but this can be only land. This is something to remember. Like I also said, the search options can be a lot different per website. Let's see, I want to have always the cheaper options, but you see here now it runs back to last and not to cheapest. This is because of what I say, because of the translation. So you put it back to Portuguese. You know, mais barato is lowest first. And then you can see it actually sorts lowest first, and then you can just switch back to English. And it's stuck on cheaper. So, as you can see here then, you get a lot of results. About 2,631. Some of these ads are from private persons, and some of these ads will be from an agent or a reseller. As you can see here, it also contains advertisements from Imo Virtual. This is a different website. If you click on it, you go to this website. Also it directly translates it. I'll let it on Portuguese for a minute. This is also a good website to search for properties. You can see here I'm searching in Castelo Branco. You can click the link back. And then you can see also on this website what is the properties that they're offering. Also here you can select lowest price first. And then you can scroll through the properties and see which you might like. Some other good websites for looking at properties is for instance Custo Justo. Also here you can enter different search options. As you see here I'm already in Portugal and in the category building, land and farms. And here also you see by price, upgoing. Now if you want to search for properties that do have a habitation or like a house on it, there's different things you can do with the search options. So here on this website you won't be able to actually select that, but if you look for instance at OLX, OLX has the condition of the building. So yeah, you can select renovated or used also, and it'll probably give you only the habitational properties. If we then look at a website like Idealista, which was recently brought to my attention by Luke from Luke and Sarah's Off-Grid Live, link in the description below. Here you can see that you can select for instance the amount of bedrooms. So T0 is a studio, and this is 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. So if you select this, then automatically it will filter all the properties that have some sort of habitation possibility. So Idealista is also a good website. Then another website I saw already really early on was Pure Portugal. Pure Portugal also has a lot of information, but also has a lot of different properties in various price ranges. I'm looking at the lower end of the market. Of course, it depends on your budget what kind of properties you would like. Then you also have very active in the region of Castelo Branco is Remax. Remax also has a lot of different plots in all different price ranges, of course, and also some easy select options. Here you can see the amount of bedrooms. Probably if we translate it back to Portuguese, it says quartos. Sometimes you see here the T1, T2, T3, but here you can for instance apply that it needs to have at least one room, and then you see already the results changing to properties that have some sort of habitation. And then last but certainly not least, HomeKey Portugal. This is where I found my dream property. HomeKey Portugal also has some very nice selections you can make for what type of property you would want. Here also you can select habitable house, farmhouse or farm quinta, the land or with house, and also the location. If you go to properties, we have the default order. Here you can also select low to high. One thing to remember is HomeKey Portugal is an agent, just like Remax, so they only have the properties that they sell themselves, instead of the other websites. So one good thing to know is that in Portugal also properties can be offered by different real estate agents at the same time. So in Holland, for instance, this is not possible. It will always be offered by one real estate agent. But here you can find sometimes the properties on multiple websites, and this is nothing strange in Portugal. Like I told you, I bought my piece of land with HomeKey Portugal. If you buy a piece of land, it's always a good idea to get the advice and get someone who can help you, especially if you don't speak much Portuguese. HomeKey Portugal website has a lot of information also about buying properties in Portugal. Like for instance, you have the page with the purchasing cost. Here you get an explanation of what costs you can expect. And then there are offerings for different kinds of assistance. I took the full purchasing package, not because I don't want to do anything myself, but I rather do it myself. But this way, with somebody who speaks Portuguese, I don't have as many risks, and I do know that I'm handling everything that needs to be handled. So HomeKey Portugal, for instance, offers a full buying assistance package, where paperwork for the property is checked, and that no debts or mortgages are on the property, which can be the case in Portugal. Also helps you with getting a Portuguese physical number. And it takes a lot of the communication between the buyers and the sellers, and who else is involved. So if you want to have good support from somebody who is in Portugal and who speaks good Portuguese, HomeKey Portugal is a very good place to go. So if you are wanting to search for properties in Portugal, maybe now you have a little bit of an idea on where you can start. In my future videos I will go more in depth in what kind of properties there are, and why I choose my property, for instance. And if you have any questions, well, let me know in the comments. And subscribe if you want. And like my Facebook page.